What might be the perfect business for a real estate agent, real estate broker, mortgage broker, someone involved in real estate? Shoot, what might be a perfect business for a home flipper? I think we have figured it out, folks. It is time to diversify your cash flow and income streams. This might be it. Bo, what say you?
All right, so let's get started. So I'm always looking for businesses that could be vertically integrated with people that are real estate agents or in real estate investing or a vendor in the business, right? Everybody wants to own a business. We don't want to be transaction based. So how do you build a business alongside something that you're passionate about? Like many real estate agents out there love what they do, but it's the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows. So that's why I tell everybody, no matter what, we should own a business. Now, if you're just a solopreneur selling real estate, and I've done that, I'm a real estate broker. I used to own a real estate franchise. I know we have great months, we have bad months, we have lulls in our careers where we go 3 or 4 months without a commission sometimes, and it's feast or famine. That's why I encourage everybody to look into business ownership. There's a business out there for everyone, and today we're going to discuss one that I think is pretty cool. So everybody, so I don't know what the exact statistics are, but when you're selling a mid to upper end home, the majority of those types of homes should be staged, right? Because you're going to get faster offers and usually over the list price if done correctly. When I used to flip a lot of houses, I would stage every single house because I always found that the couple grand I spent usually got a multiple on that. So I would stage, right? And I haven't done any scientific studies, but what I know is that when I listed a flip, the idea was to get it sold within the first 10 or 12 days, not 30 or 40 or 50 days. When a listing sits on the market, what happens? It's like 30 days and you're starting to worry. When I used to flip houses, I would worry when I didn't get offers, right? I would be like, okay, I'm paying, 10% money or 12% money on this hard money loan. And now after 30 days, people are thinking, am I going to do a price drop? Do I need to do a price drop? All these things go in. So the business model we're talking about today is a staging and furniture business. So it has multiple revenue streams. So franchise owners can earn money from home staging, from furniture sales, and partnerships with new construction developers, right? So the business model is you have staging, you stage with the furniture, you get the furniture through the franchisor. They have these relationships, so you're getting a nice margin on all the sales. So oftentimes when you're going through new homes, you walk through these new homes and you realize how beautiful they are. And obviously they upgrade the crap out of those ones compared to the majority of them. But the furnishings are always awesome. And people are like, hell, I'd love to own this furniture. Well, now you can. So I don't know the exact ratio, but let's just say 50% of revenue comes from staging, 50% comes from furniture sales. But Bo, I am not a designer. Well, you're not the designer. That's right. That's why you hire. You're the business owner. You need a small warehouse space to house the furniture. And everything is pretty turnkey. They've been doing it for years and years and years. They started franchising just a couple years back. Low overhead business model, probably all in with working capital, franchise fee. Somewhere investment ranges between, I think, 170 to like 220-ish, depending. We always give you a low to high investment range because we don't know the exact amount of working capital you need. So this could be a model that bolts in very well for real estate agents, investors, and it gives you that additional revenue. It also gives you a reason to go talk to other people, which could uncover deals. I'm always thinking, how can we integrate a business and then make more money, right? And I think this is a business that could do it. Obviously, they train you on all the systems. They have their own apps that streamline the service. Like they have ways where they can do virtual designing, and they have corporate being able to help you stage and design, and they help you recruit and retain your designers and staff you need. So you don't need a big staff because you just need designers and then some movers, which are more contract people. So I think it's a pretty darn innovative business model.
Yeah, well, again, I love this. I didn't know where we were going with this, but this is pretty interesting because I've read a lot of statistics over the years about staged homes versus non-staged homes, and there's no question staged homes sell faster and for more money, unquestioned. So again, if you're a real estate agent, real estate broker, home flipper, somebody in the business, having something that you can control, feeding your business, amazing. Also, real estate is a people business. So once flippers know flippers, right? Agents know agents. You really have an open lead book already ready if you're in the business, which is crazy. You kind of come into this business with a Rolodex of 50 potential clients. Amazing. Then you could get margin on furniture. Because again, like you said, when I go to these different ones and they're there, like, boy, I wish I had that, or I wish I had that. Again, another way to do it. Relatively low startup capital. Again, you say 200 grand. That doesn't mean somebody needs 200 grand in a checkbook. You're going to help them with a loan. They're going to bring in significantly less than that. So that's pretty cool. And also, we got real estate agents out there. Real estate agents out there today are struggling. I'm on record saying 2025 is going to suck. I'm on record saying it's going to be worse than 24. But I'm also on record saying 2026 is going to be pretty amazing. Your competition is going to go bye-bye. Right? There are so many people hanging on by a fingernail. So if you were to get started with something like this in the hardest time and start small, but build with your Rolodex, you could come into 2026 with a just gigantic momentum. And, it might be the perfect time to start because, nobody else is thinking about it. It's just wild to think about that. This is just yet another franchise option for folks if it makes sense.
Yeah, we even have two other business models that are similar, different than this, but I just got me thinking. When I was living in California, I'm always an idea guy. I had come up with a program. It was called Market Ready Plus, and the idea is that a lot of these older sellers, they might not be older, but I'm just going to use this as an example. Yeah. They're in their 70s. They need to go downsize. Their house hasn't been touched in 50 years. Instead of them selling and getting a 25% haircut, wouldn't it be cool if there was a service that came in and got the house market ready? So that was the idea behind Market Ready Plus. And I was doing a lot of private lending. I was actually going to lend the money, and I never really rolled it out. I had preliminary conversations with the contractors, but we actually have two franchise models that do something very similar to that right now, which is another. I'm gonna put together a presentation on that in the future, because that I think is another. They sub out all the work. They do the flooring, the painting, boom, boom, boom. They can even get the financing through the contractor programs. So like, to me, that's like a great business model too for in this space. So what if you're out there thinking, hey, what business models can make sense? We've talked about the maintenance company that does 18, like the Jiffy Lube of home maintenance. That's a great business model. Painting companies, flooring companies, window covering companies. Those are all things that work in. You can own a portfolio of these home service franchises over time. You start with one and build them out. So I think if you start opening your mind, I love a lot of these business models. I'm on Zoom calls, like 8 of these a day, so I don't have the bandwidth at this time. But if you are a real estate agent and you're selling, you're selling some houses, but you have a lot of time, and you can incorporate overseeing a business, that I think it's a perfect fit for you guys, because your flexibility in your schedule.
Yeah.
And then you tap into SBA financing, which you could finance 80 to 90% of the startup costs, leverage good debt, right? And then also get more write-offs for your earned income. So just think about that out there.
It's such a unique time, because if I'm right, which who knows if I'm right, 2025 is going to suck, but this is the time to get it started, so that you could take advantage of all the sweat equity now into a market that's going to have a lot less competition. There will be, it's almost a mathematical certainty, less competition in 26. There are so many agents and brokers hanging on by a fingernail. 2023 sucked. 24 sucked. 25 is going to suck. They're going to give up. They're going to go become baristas at Starbucks. And you could start now, build a Rolodex, and come out of this. And I think Cody Sanchez is a leading example. She's invested in home services businesses. Why? Lots of reasons. They're good business. They're recession independent. AI is not going to replace them. And dude, if you're an agent, broker suffering or struggling today, I think I would reach out to Bo and see what's what. And that's what I'd be doing.
Yeah, I would say that, like, you had said something. I thought like the people, you had said that you don't know if you're right or something just now on something, but I was thinking, when I look at following people and listening to people, what I look for is their batting average, right? Because I don't expect you can't always be right. But I think the calls you've made, if we took a percentage, like from a batting average, you bet you're going to be a top hitter on a Major League Baseball team.
Oh,
So
for
I think
sure. Yeah.
you
Thank
have
you.
to look at track record of people you're getting your advice from too. And I think that was just a point I heard from you. I'm like, yeah, have you missed some calls? Yeah, but you've been right a lot more than you've been wrong. And that's what I look for people I listen to. So like I get on a lot of calls with you, with your viewers and your fans, right? And like people like they're like, yeah, I listen to it like every day. They're because they know you're when you miss something, you say, hey, I missed it, but you are right more than you are wrong. And so
I
those are the
appreciate
people
that.
you have to follow, because if somebody's always right, they're probably lying to you.
Yeah, they're deleting the evidence. No, I'm really glad you brought that up, and I've made some wonderful calls very early, and I don't hide from making calls because to me it's the fun job of trying to solve this Rubik's Cube. I've been playing with this Rubik's Cube, the economy, real estate, consumers for 30 plus years. I am better than the average person. I've been doing it longer and I've made a lot more money than the average person because of what I do. But the most important thing is when I'm wrong, I admit it. Because when I'm wrong, it tells me I missed something. I need to look at it differently. In fact, I embrace being wrong so much. I had a custom shirt created called Swing and a Miss that I will proudly wear when I'm wrong. And you want an example of that? I have been wrong the last 2 years about recession calls. I called them, I was fairly confident, and then I was fairly confident again. Nope, wrong both times, just as an example.
Oh, let me tell you one thing before you go. So I was interviewing a friend of mine from the Bay Area, and he moved to Florida. But anyway, he raises money, and he was telling me about an investment he made in San Francisco. It was a syndication. It was an office space, right? And it was previously valued at over $100 million. His group picked that building up for like 26 million and change.
Nice.
And so even though office is like the black swan, like don't touch it, there's also something to be said for people who are touching when blood is in the street. He said it's 75% occupied and they got 2x cash flow or something like that. So the point is that things are cyclical, right? And what opportunities, even though like I'm
make
not
your
an
money
office
when you
guy.
buy, man. You make your money when you buy.
That's 75% discount. He got a 75% discount.
Yeah. And again, if you're putting it together, numbers, cash flow, day one, something's artificially, crap. There was actually a building in St. Louis. I wish I remember the address, but it sold for the recycled value of the steel in the building. This commercial stuff, somebody's going to make. There will be billionaires created by buying office space. It's gonna happen. It's just gonna take time. So
yeah,
cool.
For sure.
Bo, where should they go?
OneRentalMeeting.com.
Folks, OneRentalMeeting.com. Go there now. If you're anywhere in real estate, agents, brokers, mortgage, flippers, if you want to diversify your income streams, you want to use your Rolodex to build contacts, you want to invest because 26 and 27 is going to be less competition. What's a 15-minute phone call? Go book it now. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.